Welcome to another TeleDynes live stream. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. For those of you who might join in a little bit or see the stream later, gonna go over, like I said, learn a little solo, give a little update on what's going on with the channel and everything. Of course, I've been, super busy, but working on some videos. I got a couple coming up real soon. Um, it's gonna be um, what did I say last? Another Rockabilly riffs video. People seem to like that one, so that one's going to be a 2-beat kind of thing. So Rockabilly Part 2, 2-beat, 2-beat. So that's like a country. Almost, it's going to be a train in the back, so have that kind of that kind of a feel to it. And I'm going to do it in a key of E. And I just, you know, I was going to do it in G. A lot of the country type songs are in G. Part of the reason for that is because the guitar works really well in open, with open strings to play a lot of chicken pickin' type riffs. But E is also another popular rockabilly key as well as A. But the riffs that I've chosen can be, of course, moved around to any key. You don't have to play it in E. So that's the main reason why I chose E to do it. And I can go ahead and play the solo what I'm gonna do, roughly. As it's going to be like last time where I punch in a bunch of different licks and kind of just put them all together. And it sort of forms a solo, but they're really individual licks just played one right after another. And one of them is going to start off like, now I'm using open strings there, but you can play it without. That's one of the licks, or you can play it open string. But if you were playing in a different key, that wouldn't work, so you'd have to play it like that. So I'll go over that in the video. And then I do this little, I play this droning thing. You can play that in a different key. Just playing off the pentatonic. And then this riff. Again, it's open, but you can play it like this if you were playing it in another key. Play it that way too. And what else is the next riff? Oh, this one. I love doing this. You're bending to the E, to the 5. Pulling off from the A down to the G to the E. But as you're doing, it's almost like you're doing a pre-bend, and then pulling off down to the G. And then I do this. So that's just playing off the bebop scale. Flat 7. Bend it up a little bit. So we're over A at this point. And then another A riff. It's kind of a country pedal steel type bend type riff. And then another one. So now we're back on the E again. So you're playing off of these E forms here. And then at that point, I think I do this. Again, it's just a pentatonic. Except I'm doing the E. and then a B here. We're going to bending up to the major. And then this riff again, but only half of it. And we're over the F sharp. So it's like playing over the melodic pentatonic, melodic minor. Or the natural minor of A. So it's the F. Pentatonic. But only doing half of it, and then doing this little trick. And I call it a trick because you can play that in any key. So even though it's using an open string, it doesn't really matter what key you're in. It's just a way to kind of sound like you're chicken picking without doing too much work. And the idea is that you're pulling off from the major triad, pulling off the third and the one, whatever chord you're playing, through the open G and B string, and then you have your little finger on the flat 7. So this could be here. So it's like playing over a D7, but works really well over G2 on the octave. Neat little trick. And then after that, I think, what else? And then do this little triplet rundown. Now that again can be played in any key, not there in that position. You'd have to do it with these fingers here. But you can still play it. And I'm going to go over that, break that down in the next video, and that's, broke it down a little bit here, but I'll have the tablature with it as well that you can also download like always. And then I got a video review coming up on a new little product that this company was kind enough to send me called Joyo. And they sent, last time I did a wireless, from a different company, I did a wireless guitar system, but this one is similar looking. I'll show it here on stream here, but I'll do the actual video because that'll be out this week along with the Rockabilly Riffs video, hopefully. It looks very similar to a wireless Bluetooth guitar system. So the only difference is the receiver is just you plug a little headset into it. And then you have your little volume controls here. So you can plug this into the back if your amplifier has an output jack. A lot of amps don't, but especially if you use vintage or tube amps. But you can also use like got the mixer board here because I'm getting ready to do the video here after the live stream. You can plug this here in your main monitor mix or if you have a separate group output, and then you can put whatever headset you like from your phone and get a guitar, vocal, whatever you need in the ear. And I played with it a little bit. It sounds good. I haven't used it live, but I mean, I've just played around with it here. From what I can tell, it sounds like it could be very helpful. I'm gonna try to use it next week on a gig, but yeah, this last gig we played Friday at a place called Narragansett Cafe in Jamestown. It's a pretty fun show, but a lot of logistic moving parts and things, and we got a bunch of new merch in for the band, so it was some new T-shirts and going through inventory and a whole bunch of other things to go to deal with, and I didn't want to introduce another possible problem with a new piece of gear. So what I'm going to do for the video is that, showing a wireless guitar system is one thing because you can just plug it in and record the guitar wirelessly, and you get an idea of what it kind of sounds like. So to do this, I figured what I'm going to do is at halfway point through the video, I'm going to the audio is going to switch, and I'm going to run everything through this board. Is why I got it set up here. And you'll basically, if you listen to the video through headphones, you'll get an idea of what the device would sound like. And with a little bit of a mix. I'm not going to sing or anything, but I'll talk through it, and I'll use the microphone that I use live, which is this Shure. This is Super 55 or something. Yeah, Super 55, and then also play the guitar through it, so you can kind of get an idea of what the thing would sound like. And I think everyone would be pleasantly surprised. It does sound good. It doesn't sound tinny or thin or anything. I plugged it in just to the output, like my headphone jack on my interface, and I could hear everything the same way I would, put an earbud in listening to music. So you could use that for if you wanted. If you wanted to, you could even plug it into your sound system and just have, a headphone set if you don't have to, if you don't happen to have your phone on you for some reason. But yeah, a live situation, and it's relatively cheap. I don't remember the exact price, but it's not super expensive. Anyway, let's see, learning a solo. I figured we could go over one of my favorite solo. Well, I love a whole bunch of different solos, but this is one that when I first heard it, I want to learn how to play that. And that happens, used to happen more often than it does. I've learned a lot of the solos since then. So, but it was a Buddy Holly tune, and I did have a short of it, of me playing it, but I don't have a instructional lesson or anything for this. Is Blue Days, Black Nights. So the chord progression for that song is A, E, F sharp minor, D, back down to F sharp minor, E, A. That's for the solo. That's for the verse. And then you go to the bridge, it goes to a G, back to a D, E, back to this. Okay? Now I'm playing it with the pick tucked up, but you don't have to play it like that. So that's the intro, which just keeps repeating for the most part throughout the whole song. Now you can keep adding, you can add more finger picking like I do. Play the low. Since we're in A, you can let the open A ring out and the low E ring out. There I make sure I hit the F sharp to imply that it's an F sharp minor. D. You can do that if you want to get the lower octave D, which is the same as the open string, of course, the open D. So for the solo part, I'm trying to remember. There it is. I'm thinking of That's All Right Mama because it has that same kind of walk up there. No. So it starts off with these little triads. Just playing off the chords. To the C sharp, right? To the D. Back to the, and then we're still in the A. And then it just does the droning thing. They did that a lot in the 50s. I mentioned that before. Eddie, 20 Flight Rock does it. Good Rockin' Tonight does it. That E on the 5th fret, and yet, and let the open high E drone. Cool sound. And then you got to hit that. The trick there is coming down and hitting that low A afterward. Kind of makes the solo to me. You're sliding up. You're picking back and forth between your thumb and your finger. Or you could use the pick too. I like to do it this way. Then back to that riff. Then it does the same thing again. Then we go into the bridge part. And from what I can tell, he's just bouncing back and forth between this the top 4 strings. With your thumb on the D and the G string, and you're basically playing a D add 9. Like that. You're just doing, just bouncing around. Low, high, little, middle. Then it goes to this. And that's essentially, I don't know if he's actually playing it like that. Of course, there's not really any video examples of a lot of this stuff from the 50s. So you just kind of go by with, techniques that you've learned over the years and kind of adapt it to your playing style as well as what, the notes that are being played there. And from what I can tell, it's very close to the typical rockabilly fingerpicking pattern. Does that again, the droning, and then a walk up. Down to the A. And the vocals come back in. You could walk it up from the E if you wanted. Cool, little chimey little guitar solo going on there. Probably played on a Tele or a Strat or something. Anyway, so I'm going to try to start doing that on the live stream. Find a little solo here that I can break down and show everybody. And I start off with something simple like that, and then we can go from there. And let's see, I think next week for the live stream, it's going to be actually on, I haven't posted for it yet, but it'll be on a Saturday because I have the time open. And don't have to win. It'll be back at the original time, 4 o'clock on a Saturday for next week. Unless something crazy comes up. This year has been completely unpredictable. I did not expect half the stuff and half the work and gigs and everything else to just start popping up. So It's everything's kind of been in flux. But have I ever played an acoustic bass, like the like an acoustic guitar bass, or the one behind me? um, yeah, the acoustic. If you're talking about the acoustic guitar bass, yeah, I've played one in like this like Guitar Center or whatever. I've never played one um, on a gig or anything. I don't think I have anyway. Maybe actually, you know what? I did. I did once. This was year. It was years ago. I played one with a band, a local band, and it wasn't mine. It was somebody else let me borrow it just to try it for. It was just a duo gig that I was playing with another guitar player, and yeah, it worked. It worked pretty well. I forget what brand it was. I want to say it was either a Taylor or a maybe a Martin. I'm not sure, but I don't remember. But I thought they were pretty cool. But of course, this guy, the double bass, yeah, that I played that for a good solid 7 years with a band, and I did barely touch the guitar. A Dean acoustic fretless. Yeah, I've never played I played a fretless electric, but never played a fretless acoustic. That's cool. Yeah, I bet they have a cool sound. I've heard them, but yeah, great tone. But yeah, I can play. I mean, fretless on something like that. That's good. Ah, good day. How you doing, Ben? So, what else we got? Think of another solo that I haven't covered. Um, Social D, yeah, I haven't heard them I haven't listened to them in a long time, but yeah, they're great. I did a show with them once years ago. Um, they just opened. Um, it was a multi-band thing, but we opened for them in a I not my band now, but it was a different band I was in at a House of Blues down at downtown. Used to be called Downtown Disney down in Florida. And I played open for I think the open for a bunch of different people, but nothing like um trying to think of every in order. Blake Ray, Wanda Jackson, Social D, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, um, Robert Cray, the Cramps. That was a highlight. The Blasters. Open for the Blasters twice actually. Um, oh, New Brunswick, Canada. Oh, nice. I mean, originally I'm from Florida, but I live in New England now. So let's see. Trying to think while I'm noodling around here. What other kind of solo? Um, well, if you got a Bigsby too, I'm sure everybody knows some of the little tricks you can do besides just the waiver. One thing about a Bigsby is that they're not really designed to do dives, like a Floyd Rose or anything. You can sort of kind of do it, but it runs the risk of really throwing the guitar way out of whack. Um, if you get the nut set up right and you get the right, you know, either I use graphite or in tune like guitar lubricant for this part, and also I put it up here and make sure that the slots for the nut and the bridge are sanded. So I use like a fine grit sandpaper around 800, 4 and 8, and kind of polish that up. that way it gets rid of any burrs in both. Sometimes you do the nut and then forget to do the saddle. And if you look after playing, even just I do it every time I change the strings because you can see where the the rounded strings have created a groove in the saddle pieces, and that when you bend the Bigsby, it can bind and get caught up in there. That's why when you usually it gets bind up here in the nut. That's why it'll go. The D string tends to go sharp a lot. You'll bend it down. The D string will go sharp, and then you just have to you bend the string, and then it's back to normal. And if you don't use the Bigsby again, it's fine. But that's why you got to get the angle and that all smoothed out up there. I got a little bag of tricks here, bag of goodies that I use every time I'm setting up my guitar. Oh. And these are all, I think, standard things everybody should have on them. This is like that in tune stuff, but you can just look up the guitar, whatever the generic name for it is. Yeah, it's like a string lubricant. One of these little stands. That's always nice to have. So when you lay the guitar down, the neck can rest on it. And of course, a string winder with a string clipper on the end. That's very good. And one of the most important things for me are one of these cheap, like less than $1. At least it was when I got it. It's just a little ruler to use to check the string height. I try to get it down to at least 2/32, and you check each string, but you really just need to check for these guitars. You just need with this type of tunematic saddle, you just need to check the top string and the bottom string. If those strings are good, you're fine. If you start noticing problems and the middle strings are lower and then the bottom strings, then the E strings and the G and the D are lower, you need to replace your saddle because it's starting to cave in. I had to do it to this one actually. I played it, so it just happens over time. They eventually start to bend. You can heat them up and bend them back, but for the cost, and it's just easier to replace it. Anyway, we're gonna share that and. You can create little sound effects too with the Bigsby. You can bend it down, bend it back up. Almost gives it a kind of sound like a pedal steel or a lap steel Hawaiian sound. Kind of like sliding like that, but it gives it a little bit more of a no mistake in that sound, you know. Rockabilly Shuffle Blues. Yeah, I mean, actually, I could do another video on that one too. Right now, I've done the more upbeat rockabilly. So if you're doing a shuffle, you can use a lot of the same type of stuff. I mean, I would primarily stick with go in the more of the blues direction, but depending on the key that you're in. I usually end up going more in a blues direction when I play a shuffle, or when the band is playing a shuffle. But you can still play that that bebop scale. You can throw one of these in here. Depending on your tempo, if it's something like that. an E. That's a usually played a little quicker, but you can play that like that. I'll throw in like I'll toast on that's the Bill Doggett tune, Honky Tonk. Yeah, and when the tempo is slower like that too, you can throw in. You're doing that, but you can play it really fast and just do a quick little run, especially towards the tail end of the solo, like at the end of going in the turnaround, right after you come. Right before the vocals are about to come in or something. The finger picking stuff doesn't really work as you can do it whatever you want, but I like playing if you're in E of course, but going up here and playing with the pick kind of over the rhythm pickup, even over on the fingerboard a little bit. It's a little bit sweeter, kind of a creamier sound. I don't know how to describe it really. Just almost have that Gibson sound to it when you play it up here, as opposed just by changing where you play with the pick, changes the tone around. I'd play that riff in the video actually. That's a good one to play because that'll work over the slower kind of shuffles. And that's just playing the passing tones, with the passing tone between the 1, 3, 4, 5. Or that riff. You're just going up here. You're playing playing over a walking bass line, essentially. So rockabilly riffs, in general, it is kind of a jumble of different styles. So you're playing a little bit of blues, a little bit of country, rock and roll, R&B, early R&B riffs and stuff like that, and it's just kind of jumbled up together even in the same solo. So you'll play a little blues riff, and then you'll jump over and play a bebop scale, and then throw in a country riff, and then you can keep it interesting and change the sounds by, again, changing where you're playing with your hand, throwing in finger picking if it works, and flipping your pickup selector. So you play with the rhythm pickup, and then flip back to the bridge and pick with your fingers too. And that creates a whole different sound. And you can do a lot of these different things even within, a one solo section. It's hard to throw everything in with just a 1-4-5 one time around, but if you got enough time, you can you can pull all the tricks out, and it keeps it, keeps the sound different, especially since you're only usually just one guitar, or you might have an acoustic or a rhythm player or something. But for the most part in rockabilly bands, they're primarily trios. You might have a keyboard or something else, but usually only one lead guitar. And instead of having a bunch of different pedals to create different sounds with, you create the different sounds with your guitar and your fingers, and coming up with different just different pickup selectors and how you play, and then of course the notes and the riffs that you play. Uh, the if you have the option, if the key is there, like if you're an E, you can play open strings, and that creates a different little sound every time I'm in a key and I think, oh, can I play an open string there? I always try to think if I can, and you just get used to which keys work better for what. G and E primarily are the ones that are going to work pretty well. If you're in D, I would play a lot of songs in D for some reason. Um, but you can always down tune the low E down to a D, and then you can play off of that too. Right? And then if you're playing, you got to be careful with your playing chords, but you can just do this, you know. You're just eliminating the 5 down here, but it's already up there anyway, so. That way you can still play in a down tune. In a down tune D setting. You can go a little lower, I guess. I've been some of the students I've taught. Some of them want to learn some of these metal tunes, and a lot of that stuff is in drop C, which at that point it's best to have you know, like a 22 fret or 24 fret and have a 3-octave scale guitar, or and with a or a 7-string guitar as well. Gives it a little bit more stability because it'll feel like rubber bands pretty pretty quick. Um, but I mean, essentially, like drop C is kind of is a baritone guitar. I'm surprised that the a lot of the metal bands don't just use baritone guitars instead of um, regular guitars tuned down. But whatever, not really my genre. But at the end of the day, music is music, and you're just translating notes and playing them. So, what else is going on as far as updates for the channel? So we got the new videos coming out very soon. I'm actually gonna, as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna start recording the next group of them. Use this microphone. I've never used that. I wanted it would work on the live stream, but I got this thing. So, the thing with the shuffles is really like a lot of the rhythm too. I like doing stuff like that. You can play them individually or just kind of roll with it. Hey, Richard, what's going on? Oh, going pretty good. It's, you know, been crazy busy here on my end, and just haven't been able to push out as much content as I would have liked, but this summer. But as I've been told, you know, make hay where the sun shines. The new album updates, everything's kind of been pushed back, as unfortunately, because of all the gigs and just work in general, life and all that stuff. But we have been we've pretty much rounded the bend on songs as far as originals, getting them written. They're done. They just need to be recorded. So we just got to book some studio time, and everyone's busy. Everyone's the band in general. All the guys are crazy busy. The studio guys are busy, and hopefully things are going to kind of slow up next month and into once we get past some of the holidays too. And I've got some of the new tunes mixed, and I was gonna the one I'm waiting on is the Cattle Kate tune, which I know we do. I've played that on stream before, and that one is I've got a couple of extra instrumentation I want to put on it, and I'm just waiting for their the schedule to kind of open up for so I can get that recorded. Since it's a very Western type thing, I wanted to put some like a fiddle on it and possibly a lap steel or a probably not a pedal steel because that's not really that didn't happen until later. I forget when pedal steels came out, but it wasn't really part of early country music. They weren't invented yet. I think I don't know when they started, 60s, 70s, something like that. But most of the old Hank Williams stuff was just a steel guitar. Um, so there's that, and I want to build it up and make it a little bit more than what's there right now. Although it's got plenty of guitars and things like that. But I was just taking my time with it, mixing it as a little bit at a time. And then I got another one that's an instrumental. That needs another instrument on it, an organ that just hasn't been recorded yet. Again, like I said, everything's been kind of pushed back because of all the craziness, but it's definitely foremost on my mind. I've been trying to get merch together for the band too, and have been so crazy busy. Finally got it after a year later. We finally got some of the stuff in just this last Friday, and got some new picks coming too, so that's good. Um, but yeah, I'll still be releasing a song at a time on YouTube, and then once the full album comes out, I'd like to do a full vinyl. Um, we'll see when we get to that point, because that's a whole. Not only is it's expensive to produce the physical record, but you have to get that mastered specifically for vinyl. You can't just use the same mastering that you would use for digital. And I kind of understand what you have to do, but I'd rather just have somebody else do it. If you're going to spend that much money on you know a physical record, just get somebody that's done it before and really knows what they're doing. Um, do I ever use the Trio Plus? I'm not familiar with that. I probably have seen it. I'm really bad with names. I've never seen that before. Maybe in passing. Is it the Looper? Interesting. Yeah, my pedal board. I have this nice pedal board my drummer Eric made for me years ago, and it's I just put the Velcro on it and stick the pedals on there. And I had a whole bunch of stuff on there at first. I went crazy. I had oh, okay, cool. Have you ever played with the both looper and band drum? Oh, cool. Have you ever played with what's the Ditto? I think is the pedal, the looper. I wonder how that. I think that's just a looper. That's not. So I wonder how that compares. Because I actually am doing. I've got a couple of solo gigs coming up in January, and I haven't done a solo gig in forever. So I've played with backing tracks before. I'm not really a huge fan of that, but I'm not going to be doing that. And I like playing. You can do all the Chet Atkins stuff by yourself. That's fine. But and I've never really messed around too much with a looper or anything. But check this out. I'll look into this because if it's something I could use for that, yeah, might as well. Not bad. Cool. Thanks. Thanks for showing me that. Cool. Yeah, it'd be cool. You just kind of start a rhythm, play the whole progression, and then come back around and play with it. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I actually have looking at a C1 on Guitar Center for 250. Probably used, but yeah. So I used to have a bunch of stuff on there. I had the tuner, of course, and the Mystery Brain pedal. I think I had the RE20 at first, and I replaced it with the Mystery Brain. And then I had a Van Zamp Spring Verb, which was really great. The only problem was um, it uses 12 volt instead of 9 volt, like most pedals, and so I'd have to have a separate hookup, and sometimes it would create a buzz. Oh, the plus one. Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, sometimes the 12 volt and the 9 volt would, depending on where I would play, depending on how good the power was, would create a buzz through the amplifier, and there wasn't much I could do about it. I mean, obviously single coil pickups. That's why when you play tellies or strats, a lot of the times you'll get a buzz through an amplifier, especially if there's rheostats, dimmers, and whatnot in your in the club or whatever. But that's why with the tellies and strats from the factory, they don't usually do the shielding that you have to get in there and do. Take the pick guard and the pickups out, and you have to take everything out of it, and take copper copper sheets and glue them. I think yeah, it was like a glue down into the body of it, and then you have to solder them together so there's continuity between all of the copper pieces, and make sure that that's connected to the ground and stuff, so you wouldn't get a buzz. Um, and it doesn't completely eliminate it, but it reduces it quite a bit. But with the humbuckers, you don't really have to worry about it unless the power is really bad, something's not grounded. In that case, it could be something like switch the ground on your amp or something if that happens. But or if you're getting a shock, from the microphone. I haven't really, knock on wood, I haven't really run into that in a while. Or the guitar, almost got semi electrocuted from my guitar once years ago. Um, when I was playing outside and everything was fine. I was playing, and then I go to do some bend, and I go down, and I was trying to be a little showy, and I put my get close to the ground, and all of a sudden I felt like everything just go numb, and I went limp, and it was the weirdest sensation in the world. Like my whole body just started, kind of vibrating and then I just let go of the guitar and was able to stand back up again. And I slowly went down just a little bit and started feeling it. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And so I would flip the ground on the back of the amplifier, and it was still doing it. So it was something in the power out there that wasn't good. Very weird. I've never had that happen since, but yeah, that can happen. And it could have been something in the amplifier too, because that was before I had these. It wasn't this amp that's sitting behind me. It was I have another one like just like it that I. This one just lives here for the most part, but the other one I use on the gigs. And since that time, I've had these amps completely redone. All of the capacitors and everything has just gotten completely changed out. Oh my God! Thank you, Ben. Thank you for the $13.99. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Um, yeah, kind of a close call there, but yeah, be careful. Be careful with your the outdoor gigs. Um, so I'd also have I had a volume pedal too. Where it is? It's an Ernie Ball volume pedal, and I thought, oh, that would be really cool. I saw this other guitar player use it, and they would do these pedal steel type bends, and you would kind of like, I'll try to approximate it. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, everything for the channel is going either towards the channel or towards the album for sure. Mostly towards the album at this point because I'm pretty much set up as far as gear for the channel goes. But yeah, thank you. Well, remind me, you get a I will mark that. There's your you'll get a free copy. Awesome. So yeah, you can kind of do that. That's another thing. I keep freaking, little things come up and you slowly remember them. You can do that. So I found it's best to do that as quickly as you can. And doing that, getting that to sound really good. This one's pretty good. Yeah, I mean the album will be on Spotify, probably on eventually. I'm gonna put it on YouTube, I think first, and then there'll be digital downloads of it through through the website or Bandcamp or something like that. I'm not sure. I think we're on Bandcamp. I can't remember. I think we are because I went through CD Baby um, to do the last one, and they just took care of everything, and they just do it all. And otherwise, you would have to go through each and every service and upload it, and that's a lot to deal with. I think for the most part, people get their music either Spotify, Amazon, or um, direct or YouTube, even YouTube Music and stuff. No, absolutely for sure. Definitely get a copy. And I guess I haven't set that up yet, but I'm gonna been waiting for the merch to come in, and now that it's finally here, I didn't want to do it in case people did buy something, and I didn't have it to send. Is the merch store for the YouTube channel? Because we have the one that's through the website, which is the Square store, and that's okay. Um, but and it's going to be the same stuff, but this is just going to be through whatever YouTube wants you to use either Shopify and there's another one or something, but I can't remember exactly what it is. Um, but I'll probably end up with Shopify on that, and then of course there's the stuff from the Patreon. But the Patreon is Um, I appreciate anybody who, of course, subscribes to that, and hopefully get some other content on there as well. But mostly, it's just anything helps. I again appreciate that. Thank you again, Ben. And the that merch on there is something that they create. Patreon takes care of it, so I don't have any. I You upload your logo and it does what it does, and I have no idea what it looks like. I don't have any of that stuff. I have no idea. Oh, thanks, Richard. Yeah, that was a fun track. I kind of want to reamp the guitar again. Um, I think the settings are good. Like the mix is pretty good, but I've replaced the little. I've got the space echo to work a little bit better since the last time I used it, and really kind of tweaked the amp sound. So be the same track. I would just you know loop it again, reamp it. I've Even since I did that video, I've changed the settings on the space echo a little bit, and changed the little tension arm in there, which was causing all the problem because the tape would get bent and then it would come around the tape head, and so I'd be playing, and because the tape had a little, it wasn't tight enough, it would loop around away from the tape head, and then the delay would just disappear. Um, but now that I got a new tension arm on there, it's really cool. It gives you that. I'm really getting that tape saturation through the amp. But in order to get it to sound really good, you got to turn the amp way up. You got to turn it up, well, not way up, like 5, but that's really loud without an attenuator. And I haven't been using the attenuator because since I've started playing with this, the I've noticed how much better just the the notes are just popping out so much more, getting more definition, especially in the lower strings. So anytime I want to do a riff like that, it really pops without the attenuator. Kind of sucks up a little bit of the tone, and it is saturating the whole thing, but it almost compresses it to the point where you lose some of the dynamic range. Um, but being so loud, I've had to start using a baffle. And the only downside about that is that it does cut down on some of the high end. Not necessarily a bad thing, considering especially most places want you to play quiet anyway, and that's what really bothers people, is that high end piercing sound. So kind of a win-win. You still get the definition of the notes. It's just just cuts the high end a little bit. But you can kind of just slide the baffle a little bit away, just let a little bit more sound come through, and so you can hear it. Ideally, you'd want to put something a little bit further away from the amp, and just kind of put some feet on this baffle. Right now, it's just laying up against the front of the cab, so it's almost like a closed front and closed back. But there's some sound coming out. But even with that, it's still loud. But that's the sound. Sean Sean Mann released his album on YouTube. There you go. A lot of people are doing that now, I think. Um, yeah, it's just the Spotify thing. There's no, not that I'm, doing this to make a lot of money or anything, because nobody really does. Not from producing Spotify, not from releasing music anyway. We do it because we like it, but we'd like to get something back for it. And also exposure. The biggest problem with Spotify, besides the fact that it doesn't pay you anything, is pennies. You know, I can tell you, between all of the music services um, that the album is on, and it's been out for a while. Granted, it's not popular. A lot of people aren't listening to it. it's a very, very low amount. Every 6 months or so, I might get 25 bucks. um, YouTube pays way more, and exactly what I was going to say. YouTube is a great way to get your music out there, and there's so much more. Um, there's so much more potential there for it because YouTube pushes stuff in an algorithm. So if more people listen to it, it's going to get recommended to more people. Where Spotify doesn't do any of that. So you, it's just you're just throwing it in a vast ocean, and it just sinks to the bottom, right? Even main and I complain about it being nothing, and even top artists complain about it. If somebody like Taylor Swift and Beyonce are complaining about stuff like this, you can only imagine. But so I know it's convenient for people. Everyone's kind of gotten used to it for some reason. But I mean, hey, Apple Music for a while, like everyone thought that was going to be the way people were going to listen to music. It changes so quick, the landscape, that it's almost impossible to keep up with. But I'm a huge fan of YouTube in general. Even when I'm not making videos or on here, I'm just watching YouTube videos all the time. Probably, if you look at my battery life on my phone, what is used most often is going to be the YouTube app. So yeah, that'll be that, and then the Cattle Kate song. There's a surf rock tune. It's hard to play because it's sparse to get the idea of it without hearing of it, but it's a slow boom, pop, 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 like that. And it's very ethereal. That's probably not the right word for it, but that's the melody. There's a lot of other instrumentation going on, other guitar arpeggios, um, swirling sounds, and an organ sound and everything else. It's called Surf at Twilight is the name of it, and That's just an instrumental, so it's good. It starts off with this little riff here. I messed around with that. And I thought, oh, that sounds really neat. Let me see if I can write a song around that. So that's usually how a lot of songs will start for me. Is I'll come up with one little riff for something, and it's an excuse to write the rest of the song. But the next, yeah, maybe that'd be nice, right? The next Brian Setzer and Sean Mann, the next SRV, both incredible. You just need to get your name out of there. Time to start the tour. Yeah, time to start. Got to keep the music going. I'm gonna have to check out. Um, I'll check out Sean Mann. I Cool. Oh, add it to my list. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd go on the road if it was worth it. If there was enough people interested in seeing the band and everything, and the music got out there, that would be that'd be a lot of fun. I have toured a little bit before, not just local small venues and things around the southeast, but um, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty. It was entertaining. That play different places all the time. That was always fun. The driving not so much, but especially down in down in that area. There's just everything's so far apart. It's not like New England where everything's just right here. You know, you're you're only 30 minutes from the next venue, and nobody likes to really drive anywhere up here. So you can do a tour in New England and cover less space than the entire state of Georgia or Florida. Absolutely. Good to have you, Glenn. Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice to hear. Tell him likewise if you speak to him again. Um, let me see. So I don't want to get it wrong. I'm pretty sure it's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, wasn't he the guy? He was on. Wasn't he on the thing with? I know he's played with Imelda May, but wasn't he on? That tribute to Les Paul at the Iridium? Was that him? Oh, nice. Yeah, Reverend Horton, he comes around here every once in a while. He's usually down. I'll see him if he's down in Providence. I always go if I can. He's usually touring with Big Sandy. Lately, last time we we didn't open for him, but we played a club adjacent to the club he was playing, and the clubs they all kind of know each other, so they all talk. And but we played like earlier before the show, and then and Big Sandy came over and saw us, and we hung out a little bit, and then we went over to see the Reverend. Saw Big Sandy open for the Reverend, and then we watched the Reverend. That was several years ago, and then he was back more recently at the same club, different location, but but the club moved, but it was the same owners or whatever, and yeah, that was a fun show too. It's always good. I always go see the Reverend. The best time I ever saw him though was at this a casino in Connecticut called Mohegan Sun, and there's a venue in there called the Wolf Den, and it's not in the round completely, but it's kind of a half moon shaped open stage, and it's tables and chairs and everyone, and it's free. You just go in and you just get in line. You just got to make sure you know they can fit you in there. But even if you can't get in and sit down, it's open on the outside. So if you're walking around the casino, you can still see the band. And I was able to get a really good seat, pretty close, right up front, and the sound in there was really good, really clean. Um, and that was right when he had come out with that "Laughing and Crying" album. So it was a lot of the country stuff. He did a mix of both, some of the stuff from that album and also the classics, of course. So that was great. Pittsfield, originally from Pittsfield, Mass. Yeah, close. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they down south. It's like everything's at least a good hour and a half, 2 hours away from one to the other. There's a bunch of venues and a bunch of clubs, but because the the way this it's set up down there and the infrastructure, it's just people will drive much further to go to a venue or just go shopping or whatever. And down here or up here, it's because everything is so close together. It's it is easier to play different venues. I can go down and play Jamestown and then play Providence the next week and have a completely different crowd. If I were doing the same type of thing in Florida, I'd have to put the either if the clubs were that close together, I would have to spread them out by at least 5 or 6 weeks. Otherwise, people kind of get mad. Um, and I get it. I understand. So that was so in order to keep playing all the time, you'd have to play a club that was an hour and a half away to 2 hours. So I'd play a lot. I was in Orlando, so I would play a lot in Cocoa Beach and Melbourne, and the East Coast for the most part. Petrol. Oh, I get it. Petrol. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know. And we were traveling. This was an older band I had down there, and we were traveling quite a bit. Like I said, going up to the Panhandle, that's a good 6 hour, 8 hour drive. And so even from Orlando down to the Keys, it's a 6 hour drive. And gas was still only $1.50. Um, and then it was like 2005, and that's when the Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and then all the gas prices just uh, started shooting up, and everything went over $2, and it's never really gone back since. But as a result of that, from it went crazy, and it just didn't become cost effective to keep traveling for the rate that you're getting paid. And I'm getting paid the same rate here without having to drive all over all over the place. And playing a tour would be different, obviously, because then you're selling tickets, and you're making a decent amount of money. But playing playing typical venues, there's usually some kind of a guarantee, and then they might sell tickets or do a cover or something of that nature. But most places don't um, play. Most places don't have ticket sales up here unless you're a name act. If you're a local act, they don't do that. So I remember visiting. Only 25. Exactly. I know people. Yeah, it's a. I'm in Rhode Island, but it's. I don't know if you said Massachusetts. I'm assuming it's the same up there too. Yeah, 5 minutes. Oh my God, I don't want to drive. It's only 12 minutes to the store. It's so far away. I remember driving 25 minutes just to to the grocery store down there. Here, I only drive 12 minutes, and I've caught myself doing the same thing. Oh my God, I don't want to drive all that all that way. Like, wait a minute. I think it's partially the infrastructure. The speed limits are really slow, and a lot of it's just 2 lane traffic. So or single, and a lot of stop signs and street lights, and a lot of stop and go traffic, and the highways are not direct, depending on where you live in the state. But I'm in a pretty convenient location, so I'm basically in Providence, so I'm not too far away from anything. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, much different in Virginia. Yeah. Old Daryl Hyam. Oh, I wanted to ask you, Richard. I had thought about this. I don't know where. Oh, and I wish I could remember his name. It's probably not going to be very helpful, but there is a guy in England, but I couldn't tell you what city. I think it's Manchester, but I'm not sure. And anyway, I just met I he's it's a rockabilly guy, and he kind of looks like me. And he plays like a black and a black guitar, the Gretsch, and a and an orange Gretsch. He plays the junior models, not the not these for some reason. But um, I don't want to. I can't remember his name. Russ or something. Maybe it's Russ. I don't know. I'll look it up again and see if I can find it. But I wondered if you would. I'll try to send you a message and see if you recognize this guy or heard of him before. I know he's got a YouTube, but somebody had found him and was like, "Oh my god, this guy looks just like you." See. Hmm. Nope, not him. I know he has some YouTube stuff, but I think I saw it on Facebook. Now I'll find him. I know I have a photo. And I know my friend. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of rockabilly guys. I only mentioned he's got a Gretsch endorsement, um, and so I guess he's been doing it for a while and plays a bunch of he plays a bunch of shows. Um, so I'll find out what his name was and I'll let you know and see if you've heard of him. I just thought it was interesting and funny because he does kind of resemble kind of look like me. Anyway, I don't have it. Yeah, I know my drummer and remembers his name. Um, I'll have to ask him. All right. Well, how long have we been going? Oh, a little over an hour. Um, yeah, I got to get to changing the strings on the guitar. I can tell like when the strings need changing. Besides, feeling the string itself, when you go to play artificial harmonics and they don't quite ring out like they should, it's probably because the string's dead. You want to get that right. If you you'll kind of get a like that. These strings are dead, as you can tell. They're not. It's not quite ringing out that well. So that if that happens, you could. That's another way to tell they're dying. Plus, they'll just they bend easy. They feel um, great, because they're easy to bend, but they're getting ready to snap. You have the chromes on the 6120? Oh, that's cool. No, these are just standard um, tens, Theodaria tens, whatever. You know, the orange, just the standard gauge. I don't have anything special. Some people play with like a low, um, like a 40. What is that? A 48 or a 50 low E. But I've never really found a need to do that. I do have the chromes on the jazz one. That's pretty cool. That's great for that sound. Eventually, when I get the smoke, I'll might put the chromes on this one, and then keep the other one. Because the only thing about the chromes is it's hard to bend the G. So, but I love the feel of them, you know, and especially for any jazzy or the finger picking stuff. Something like that. 12s now, they're 10s. Oh, and the chromes? Um, yeah, yes, those are 12s. Oh, I bet. I'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully, they still continue to make it for a while. Since it's like a standard signature model, they probably won't get rid of it anytime soon. But because I know the hot rods, they change up every couple of years. But if it does say somehow discontinued, I'll just have to bite the bullet. But because I don't want to let that one slip away. Yeah, because they have this one. This is what I don't know what they call this. The maple, the tiger stripe type. You can sort of see it. Um, where the smoke is the more standard. Yeah, tens. I got tens on pretty much everything. Tele, Strat. Yeah, the only thing that has 12s is the jazz and the acoustic, of course. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he Setzer likes playing with dead strings or older strings. I don't like playing with brand new strings. I mean, they sound cool. They sound very. It's very chimey, very high end. Very bright. But I like after they've broken in like a couple of gigs. Too dead though. I find, at least for me, I don't know. Sometimes it just some of the if it's really they're really bad. Like these have been on here for a couple of years, so they at that point when they just start to there's no tone left in them at all. They just kind of flop around and um, they don't hold any sustain or they're about ready to snap like that. When I say dead, that's what I mean. Yeah, but as far as just being broken in and playing a couple of shows, um, and even though like Setzer plays a lot when you tour, you're playing 3 or 4 nights a week, but your shows are only a couple hours. Where local bands usually will play a show 3 or 4 hours, and I'll play a couple times a week, and they'll wear out over around probably the same rate. But after about 2 shows, they start to break in enough, and I'll keep them on there until I start to feel a bend, a pop, like a little like a bump. You can feel the bump on the top or on the bottom of the D string. I wait until I start to feel something on the top. Like if I feel it, like right there, I can feel something. So I know that they've been on there for a while and it's time to move. Yeah, I heard about the dead string thing with Setzer. I guess it was I don't know when it was, but his guitar tech forgot to change the strings for a show. I guess this is what I heard. I don't know where I read this, and Setzer was not happy. Said you should have changed the strings, and he just kind of went with it and did the show. And then after he played with the strings that were dead, he said never change the strings again. um, so yeah, I've always called them just broken in a little bit because it does happen. The brand new strings tend to slip will slip out of your fingers a little bit easier, and they can when you go to slide because they're new, you can overshoot sometimes and do one of those. Um, And this time of year too, when it at least here, things starting to cool down and it's a bit drier out. Everything is just plays so much smoother. I have to be careful sometimes because I'll go to play and think that I need to put more pressure than I actually do, and realize, oh, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. And the summertime, opposite problem. Everything's just the strings turn into rubber bands. Everything's just sticky, and it's not great, especially if you play outside. And being on the East Coast, um, lot of you know, ocean gigs on the water, by the water at least. A lot of salt air, and that corrodes the strings. Um, I try not to play. I've played on the beach before. I don't like doing that because you just get sand in the f holes and all through the whole you know guitar, and you got to get a shop back in there and clean it all. It's the drums too. Oh, it takes like half a day just to clean everything up. But I don't know. I usually play a Newport a lot in the summer, so all the um. Hey, Steve. Um. So when the fog rolls in, it's just a mist of water will just get over everything, and you got to have you know towels and things to cover everything. It's the gigs pay pretty well, and that's a lot of where the a lot of the work is in the summertime. Same thing with Florida too. It's on the water. That's what you want to make money at this level. You got to play those type of venues. That's where they are. That's where all the tourists are. That's where the money is. So it you just kind of deal with it. But and the city gigs typically will be based on door tips in Nashville style, or um, maybe a small guarantee, most of the time not, or ticket sales. But saying earlier, nobody knows who you are, and trying to get the music out there. It's hard to get that, even from YouTube, to get it to translate into people going to see the band. Um, Eventually, uh, keep doing it. But that's where YouTube comes into it, where Spotify, that's all I'd been doing for years, is just Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever, and it doesn't do anything because you have to promote it, and there's really only one avenue of promotion, I think, and that's it, unless you want to pay for a publicist or something, which is insanely expensive. So YouTube's the best way to kind of do that, because traveling around and touring is not really, I don't think, very productive, because it's it might work. I mean, maybe if you have a promoter doing it for you and not just a booking agent. Maybe if you're on a label, maybe. It's hard to say. I mean, it's obviously the music is going to speak for itself, and people are either going to like it or they're not, and that's where it's going to let the chips fall where they may, so to speak. But there is always going to be an expense from touring, no matter what. Where with YouTube, it doesn't cost me anything, and I get to hang out and talk to you guys too. I guess I could still do the live stream from the road. I know there's a lot of people on there. They'll do the YouTube thing and they'll go on the road and they'll do that. And if it made financial sense to do something like that, I would totally do it. Got to get the album done, so that's definitely you know, foremost on my mind. Like I said, so that's besides the videos. Now that everything's slowing down for November, I can definitely get to finishing that album and get the new songs recorded. And we actually have more songs than we need to put to do a full album. I want to do at least 14 songs. I think that's pretty good. Last time we did 10, little short, but this new one will be at least 14. There's one cover. There will be one cover on there, and that's an instrumental called Tico Tico. And just because I thought it would be cool to um, play a kind of a rockabilly, sort of rockabilly style. It's got a still got the same kind of beat to it though. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. YouTube is worldwide. Exactly. I think that song's public domain. So that's going to be upright bass clicking, like that kind of a whatever. Can't really do it on the guitar, but and then I'll have the slow instrumental, and then everything else will be vocals, and it's going to be a mixture of different things. It's not going to be completely rockabilly because they got the cavalcade, kind of a spaghetti western type of thing. That's another one, um, and that'll be still swings. It's a swinging thing, taking chances, of course. Um, there's a country 2-beat, a pretty fast one, 300 BPM. So that's as fast as I can push the metronome on my phone anyway. Yeah. Yeah, that's oh, and then there's a 60s style kind of thing in there too. Um, straight eights, but um, dual guitar kind of thing, vocal harmonies. The bridge is 1 4 1, and then it goes to 6. So a little more um, a slightly different chord progression than like a standard rockabilly thing. And then I have another rockabilly tune that I just finished up. I don't have it completely done, but it was well, the song is done. I just gotta write. There's like one little verse I gotta finish, but that's a major. It's in the key of D actually. I figured I don't play too many songs in the key of D, and I don't have never written a song in the key of D for whatever reason. So I decided it's time. Straight eights, key of E. Yep. And Yeah, I figured something, taking chances is rockabilly. That's pretty straight. No, no, no denying that's a rockabilly song, but it's minor. So I wanted to do a major rockabilly type song. And the last album, I did a car song called 47 Cadillac, and that's kind of going for a Bill Haley esque type sound to it, and just inspired by like a Bill Haley type song. And this one I don't really have, and I don't know what it is. I just wanted to do something that's going to swing in the key of D and have a slightly different chord progression than just your standard 1 4 5. So it's got a so the bridge has a I haven't touched it in like a week, but like a little descending line. Oh, and that's in the key of D. So I go to the sixth, and instead of playing a minor, I play major. Just make it a dominant chord. Uh, so I'll work. I'll That's going to be in the next round of recordings. Oh yeah, and then there's another one that's kind of has it's technically swinging. That's kind of the feel of it. So for reference, it's faster, but for reference, I guess it's more of that the feel, sort of kind of the Beatles got to get you into my life. Um, Major, it swings. It's in the key of E, but it plays as as if we're in the key of B. You could write it in either key. Um, you could say it's B with a flat seven, or you could say it's just the key of E, because all of the chords that I'm pulling from would be the same as E. It's just that I'm not starting on the one and I'm starting on the five, depending on how you want to look at it. White made millions. Oak salad, any. Yeah. Either get your granny. um, yeah, that's a fun song to improv on. Yeah, that'd be nice. Tell your friends. Tell your rockabilly friends. We'll get the album out there and get the channel going and for now, I mean, I could do. I don't know if anybody would be interested in it or not, but I'm always kind of apprehensive about it. Is the doing a live stream of some of our shows here? Um, because I can do that. I can just put my phone up and live stream it. Like I've done that. I did that once, maybe twice. I just get a little worried about copyright, not because of what we play, but because of overhead music. If I don't have control of it, it it could get random. That's what got the other one blocked. In Not blocked, just in certain countries, I guess. And I don't really care about monetization or anything. I just care about no, not getting a copyright strike because you hear. Well, I forget the guy's name. He's on YouTube. Always get. He just did a bass player guy, and he just did an instrumental bass cover of Hotel California and got a copyright strike. It was ridiculous. But I know to avoid the Eagles, the Cars, Garth Brooks, and Brian Adams. So as far as I know, those are the ones that really will get you. But should be easy to avoid. um, yeah. If okay, I mean, we're gonna play next. We're next Friday. Um, okay. Well, I'll do it. I'll set it up. Yeah, I'll come down to Virginia or Spokane. Sorry. Um, is that where it is? Is that what you said? Yeah. Where is Washington? Let me see. How far are you from? Oh wow. Total. Oh, that's Washington, right? Washington State. Um, yeah. Yes, completely. That's the other side. Seattle's completely on the opposite side of the state. Then. All right. Yeah, that's a ways. That's a bit of a drive. As far as I've with this band, I've been as far as Pennsylvania, Glenside, Pennsylvania, and Maine, Portland, Maine. Cool. Yeah, coming to Cambridge. That's I would love to, but I'm working on it. That's the long term goal, right? Be able to completely just do this for a living. I'm having fun with the YouTube thing though, as well. But yeah, if you'd like the live thing, I guess I can do it. I'll do it next Friday, and I don't have any strikes, so um, I want to say that if something does, obviously, if something happens, I'll be very careful. I won't do it anymore. But I have this Friday. I have complete control of the music that gets played on the overhead through the because I control that comes through the PA system. So um, I'll just make sure that anything on there is not won't won't get flagged. Or what I could do is just figure out a way to do that on the phone. Go to something while we because we're going to take a break at some point, and we usually put music on in between. That'd be kind of boring if anybody's watching that. um, I wish I had a way to have a laptop set up there, then I could put OBS on like I do here, and I could just switch to a uh, something else playing in the background while we go to come up for a break. I want to do that anyway at some point because I want to get on another thing we're working on um, is a recorded live performance. I do have a recorded live performance, but there's no video. It's just the audio, and I can put the phone up there and whatever. But I want to get all the tracks isolated. That way, I can mix it and have a decent live mix, and also have an accompanying video. It's just a lot of the venues up here are really small, and it's finding a place that has the space, and not just for the band, but then also for the guy that's got to run the machine, because he's got to hook up the laptop somewhere. And you can get these. They make these. Behringer makes this thing that you can use and just hook it up and just plug it right into your laptop and get the recording. But we still need somebody to do the video. So a lot of these venues also, not only are they small, you're on ground level like we will be next week. I'd say the bulk of the places we play, we're on the same level as the audience, which is fine. I like that. But they people can, start drinking, they're having fun, they're dancing around. I've had people crash into microphone stands and um, trip and you know almost fall into gear. Sometimes directly fall into your gear, and you have to be somewhat careful, especially if you have sensitive recording equipment sitting around there. It's not. It's all in good fun. Everyone's you know pretty good. It's not like it gets rowdy or anything. It's just people are having a good time. They're drinking and dancing and get a little excited. Oh, I don't even have. Is this on? There it is. That's always a go-to lick of mine. Sometimes I go down. This will be great. It's good. Live music can't beat it. Yeah, I don't see why. Yeah, I definitely want to do it. I've got I already talked to people that want to that would come out and do the work. It's just finding the proper venue, and also you find a venue that's big enough, getting the audience there to make it worth doing, because you don't want to have a live concert and there's nobody there, or only like 4 or 5 people. Um, yeah, definitely. Unless you have like a stage setting, and even then, it's you know that's why if you look at all the live concerts, it's obviously the bands are established anyway, so there's going to be a massive audience, but they have that railing blocked off, so the cameras have room to move around. Plus, those venues, they have the cranes and everything else. So, but for us, even we did one a while ago, but it was a different iteration of the band, so I don't have the videos, and the audio isn't. The video looks fantastic, but the audio is eh, because it was just recorded with a one of those Tascam DR40s. It's like a little portable um, digital recorder. Good quality and everything, like 24-bit, 48K. Does you can plug two XLRs into it, and it's got the microphones in it, and people use it for sound, like you're on a film set or whatever, and you use the boom operators. Um, I've done a couple of gigs like that where you have like the bullet mic or the Sennheiser bullet mic up there, and you that's on the mic stand, or on the not a mic stand, but it's like that, and you you got to get it over the actor's head, but just low enough, and angle the mic right at their close to their mouth, and then when each one's talking, you flip the mic back around. Plus, they're wearing lavs and everything too, so um, or you can just lock the microphone down. Anyway, the people would usually record to those devices, but if you don't have the proper microphone set up going into that, and it's only got 2 channels, what happened was the music itself sounded fairly balanced. It was just the vocals ended up being buried. Um, they weren't quite loud enough, and so I tried to do a kind of an overdub of it, and got it up a little bit. I couldn't get it too loud because it sounded like it was delayed and everything, but it was okay audio wise. So next time I'd like to get a nice separate mix and get the same videos. We'll probably do it at the same place where we did it before, which is where we're playing Friday. Actually, a place called Nick and E's in Providence. Yeah, the Black Magic cams. I do AV on Sundays um, for a local church, and the I use one of their it's not the camera, but it's the Black Magic design switchers, so you can switch between the different angles and have those. It's kind of they do have one of those cameras though, and I got the little controller, and I can like a little joystick, and you can pan and move the camera around and zoom in and out and stuff like that. It's fun. Oh, down again. Oh, I never finished what I was talking about with the getting the volume swells. Part of getting that really nice is getting the right pot, the right potentiometer down there, because this one's really loose. It's really smooth. It works really well. But some of them, like was it this one? Yeah, the Phoenix is stiff. The blue one's even stiffer. Maybe it's the age. I don't know. But also, and having something really that that feels smooth is crucial to being able to do that effectively, because you don't have much leverage, because you only have your little finger for the most part. I mean, you're kind of gliding your hand here or over the over your fingers a little bit, depending on where you're playing. And the other thing too is that every pot has a different spot where the volume comes up. Sometimes it's even, but a lot of the times it's not, and it's just you'll start to turn it up, nothing, 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 and then it's all the way. So you got to find kind of go through different ones, especially with tone knobs, and you end up running into this usually with tone knobs more than volume knobs. But it you can still have the issue. It just gives you another sense of another control aspect to a guitar when you don't have the pedals and you don't have all these things, or effects and whatnot. Is I was playing. We do a version of Sinatra's Angel Eyes, and when I go to play the chords with the pick, it's a little too harsh. So I just, you know, click the volume down a little bit, and then I can use the pick, or just use the thumb. And usually at that part, I'll have tremolo going. And it's kind of this. See if I can do it. See if I can emulate it here. Is this it? No. Maybe. Yeah, this is it. Too much. Ugh. Weird. Trying to find a. But anyway, you get the idea. I just use one of those Boss tremolos. Seems to work really well. And I just kind of pick the chords like that, and I'll turn the volume down just a little bit. And then I go to the bridge. And the reason I do that is because then when I go to the solo, I have somewhere to go, and I can crank up the volume and there's a sound change right there, right in the same solo. So it's almost like two different guitars. You got the whatever you call the spy. The spy sound on, and then you get then go into this jazzier sound just by moving the pick, and then back to the chord progression. As a Harlem Nocturne uh, type of vibe to it. And I'll do the live stream Friday. So if you guys check it out, you'll hear it, because we always do that song. I'm sure it'll get copyright claimed, at least because we're gonna play Sleepwalk and you know all that stuff. But I don't. That's fine. I don't really care about that. I don't care about the claims. It's the strikes that bother me. If I don't have any, but I don't want to even tempt fate on that. Which is why I'm kind of backing off of the lessons for individual songs, doing more of like technique type stuff, like rockabilly riffs, rockabilly for the rockabilly riffs part 2 with the 2 beat, and then probably do one maybe with a shuffle if I can come up with something unique that's not. Um, if I can come up with something, I'll do a shuffle type thing. There's always also the rumbas too, which are fun. Um, and that might be fun to just do a blowing some tears in my eyes. Time on your schedule. I can do that. I mean, it's on the website as far as the gig goes. I think. Hopefully, I updated it. Yeah, it's there. The gig's there. But I'll put the on the calendar. Yeah, I'll put the but as a live stream. Uh, I'll put it as live stream gig, live gig or something, so you can see that. And I'll post for it early. Um, and that way you'll see it on the channel as well. All right. Well, yeah, this was fun. I think I'm going to wrap it up here for now. Thank you guys again for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Thanks again, Ben. And thanks, Richard, for joining in, and everybody. Sector 13, Glenn, whoever's still watching, who's been chatting, and of course, you guys enjoy it, find it useful and entertaining. And I'll have the next videos coming out very soon. I'm actually going to get to recording them right now, and I got some other work to do too. So I'm going to wrap it up. And until next time, the next stream, we'll see you at the live show if you're there. If not, hopefully see you on the next live stream. And see you guys going forward. Have a good one. Take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.